Hello, everybody. This is Gerald Celente, and it's Wednesday, September 27th, 2023. And once again, we're honored to have with us a man of men, a true American patriot, and not just in words and deeds, but in facts and knowledge, Judge Andrew Napolitano. When it comes to the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, as I say, bring anybody around and we'll talk about it. Nobody could top him because not only does he know about it as a judge, he ruled about it. And Judge, thanks for being on again. And you have an article that's coming out tomorrow. And it's very, very sad how the United States government has turned against its people. And it's about what happened on January 6th, back there in 2021, when the state punishes thoughts. And it's about what happened with the Proud Boys. So tell us more about that.
Well, everybody has their own image and impression of January 6th. To some people, it was a political demonstration that the government repressed with an iron fist. To others, it was a substantial and material disruption of a governmental function, and those who engaged in it should be prosecuted. But the article was about 4 people who weren't even there and who were charged with sedition and convicted of sedition. Sedition is a conspiracy to overthrow the government of the United States of America by violence or force. So I have argued that there's no such crime as a conspiracy. It's just a thought crime, since it's impossible, inconceivable that 4 people could overthrow the government of the United States by force. What's being prosecuted is just their thoughts. There's no harm. They had nothing to do with it. They didn't cause it. If they caused 9/11, they would have been prosecuted. January 6th, they would have been prosecuted for it. If they caused any bodily injury, they would have been prosecuted for it. If they caused any property damage, they would have been prosecuted for it. Instead, they were prosecuted for a conspiracy, an agreement to overthrow the government. But conspiracy laws are unconstitutional because every acceptable definition of crime requires that there have been harm. No harm, no crime. When the crime wasn't committed, there's no harm. Therefore, what's being punished? The thoughts, the communications. What does the First Amendment protect? Think as you wish, say what you think, publish what you say. That's the deplorable state of affairs that we have today. The great trial lawyer Clarence Darrow, in another era and using different monetary amounts, once said, if a man steals $10, he's not going to go to jail. But if 2 men conspire to steal $10 and then don't do it, they are candidates for imprisonment. What kind of a country does this to its own people? Ours.
You mean these people that were convicted weren't even there?
Correct. They were not physically present in Washington, D.C. They were convicted on the basis of fanciful ideas and conversations that they had. Wouldn't it be nice if this could happen? Wouldn't it be nice if that could happen? It would be great if we could really expose the fact that Biden lost and Trump won. Whether that's factually true or not is not the point. The point is they were prosecuted for expressing those thoughts. So conspiracy, which only one Supreme Court justice denounced, Bob Jackson, who was FDR's attorney general, one of his attorneys general, and then Supreme Court justice, and then left the court, took a leave of absence from the court to become the chief American prosecutor at Nuremberg, if his name rings a bell, and then went back to the court. He's the only one that criticized conspiracy, saying it's the garden of the prosecutor's favor because they don't need a victim. They claim the government is the victim, and they don't have to prove harm. But it's a thought crime that they're punishing.
So in other words, if I said, I'd like to see this damn government overthrown, I can't stand these people, that I could be convicted for that?
Well, it does require that one step be taken in further of the idea. First of all, it requires at least 2 people. So two or more people agreeing to commit a crime where one of them takes a step, even an innocent step, in furtherance of it, like calling somebody else up and saying, are you interested in overthrowing the government? Yes, they could prosecute that under the current prevailing conspiracy laws, which is why I wrote this piece, to expose what the government has done. And it's not just the deep state. This is Congress. Congress has given the FBI and federal prosecutors a gift wrapped in a pink bow called the conspiracy, and the state governments have done the same thing. You have a next door neighbor and neither of you like where the sidewalk is. I'm going to move the sidewalk. I want my front yard to be a little larger. Yeah, I'm going to do the same thing. And one of you goes to buy a shovel. They could prosecute the two of you for conspiracy to steal government property. That's how loosey-goosey and dangerous in a free society these conspiracy statutes are. And they were used to the hilt. Gerald, these guys didn't get 18 months. They got 18 years for sitting around a hotel room in Arlington, Virginia, and fancifully talking about what they would like to have happen to the federal government.
You know, when I tell everybody that there's nobody that knows the Constitution, the Bill of Rights like you do, it's not only words, it's also deeds. Because you mentioned over here, I have argued, and in my years as a judge in New Jersey, I have ruled that the answer to this is no. If the conspirators concoct a plan that is impossible to pull off, like 4 persons overthrowing the United States government by force, then there is no harm. And the prosecution is exclusively for the employment of forbidden mental processes.
Who the hell is the government to punish us for forbidden mental processes? The First Amendment that guarantees the freedom of speech. In order to speak, you have to be able to think. It protects the right to think. The Ninth Amendment protects natural rights that are unenumerated in the first 8. It is clear beyond dispute that the right to think as you wish and say what you think is a fundamental liberty, absolutely protected by your natural rights as a human being and insulated from and immune from the government reach by the First and the Ninth Amendment. But the government prosecutes who it wants, and the courts cave. The courts presume that whatever statutes Congress has written are constitutional, even when they violate the right to think, even when they violate the First Amendment, even when they violate the Ninth. Judges should presume that all statutes are unconstitutional because every law, I defy you to find one that doesn't fit in this category, every law either prohibits or compels behavior. Since we're born in a state of freedom, every law, every prosecution, every statute should be presumed unconstitutional, and the government should have the burden of overcoming that presumption.
You know, you go, yeah, I mean, you said before, it's a deplorable state of affairs. That's what's happened to this country. And you also mentioned that during the trial, an FBI agent admitted on the cross-examination that an FBI colleague asked her to alter evidence so as to remove the names of other FBI agents as having been present during a critical government meeting between agents and a confidential source. Materially altering government records, particularly those to be evidence in a criminal case, is a felony.
Ask me if the FBI agents who did that were prosecuted. I mean, you already know the answer. Of course not. No. She also revealed that they asked her to destroy 338 items of evidence, which she didn't destroy. She also revealed that the FBI was spying on one of the defendants in the courtroom, every time that defendant and his lawyers talked in the conference room in the jail. Nobody prosecuted. All of those things were felonies. Nobody, I don't know what became of her because she admitted to all of this on cross-examination, and the defendants were still prosecuted. If I had been the judge, there wouldn't have been a trial because I would have found that these conspiracy laws are unconstitutional. But if I'd been reversed and there was a trial, I would have dismissed the charges right then and there because the behavior of the government shocks the conscience. I would have stopped the trial and said, who asked you to alter evidence? I want to know the name of the FBI agent they asked you to alter evidence. Whose name did they want to keep out of the records that was afraid to come in this courtroom and testify? Bring that FBI agent into my courtroom. That's what I would have done. But this judge just accepted what